sorry, Derek, I think you just answered my question. I was going to ask about culture. In this part of the world, um, leadership style tends to be more autocratic than developmental, you
Yeah.
know, and my question is would what would help cultivate psychological safety in such an environment? I think psychological safety is a real problem here, especially in a situation where leadership tends to be more autocratic than developmental. So is there any other points in addition to what you have said just now?
Yeah, I think there are two things, and we've done an amount of this with larger clients over the last several months. There's, as I say, there's a big gap, and I know this is a kind of a cliche in coaching circles, the gap between knowing and doing. But there is a big gap between knowing what psychological safety is and then actually embodying it and making it happen. And it's a big challenge to bridge that gap. Now, I think it comes in two steps. Okay, well, three steps. The first one is educating people so that they see and they look and they say, you know what? I'm looking at this research, and even though I like this hierarchical, autocratic approach, which is traditional to our organization, it just doesn't make as much business sense as this approach. So there's a certain educational component that says there's a lot of research that shows this. So that's the first trip that has to be made, that people are saying, okay, let's examine it. Let's consider, you know, the options. The second thing then, when you want to get people into action, the second step we would always take is we don't start talking about educating people on psychological safety. We start talking about educating them on emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is just simply about the way you show up to people, the way you interact with them. And you give them skills to be able to become more aware of their own behavior, their own emotions, the way they're impacting the way they're thinking and the way they're showing up, being able to become more aware of other people's emotions in an everyday situation. I'm not talking in a huggy hippie culture way. I'm talking a very practical way. And then when people have that basic sense that, oh, this is what it is, it's about connection, then you can look at the environment and you could say, what are the 2 or 3 things that we are doing in here, and you can assess this, what are the 2 or 3 things that we're doing in this organization that are most hurting the sense of psychological safety? Let's not try to stir the ocean. Let's identify the 2 or 3 things that are most hurting that sense of psychological safety. And then between us as a team, as a group, as an organization, to figure out, what does the alternative behavior look like? And then, and I'm really kind of devaluing it by saying this, but it's almost then at that stage, a fake it till you make it. It's a sense of, this doesn't feel like a suit of clothes that works me or that fits me, but I'm going to choose to show up in a different way. And we're going to make the agreement that as a team, we're going to choose to show up in a different way. And that's when things start to change. But it takes will, it takes intention. And it takes attention. It doesn't change overnight. And believe it or not, it's not just in Asia that that there are autocratic cultures. There are lots in on my side of the world that are masquerade as being 21st century cultures, you know, psychologically safe, emotionally intelligent environments that when you scratch the surface are exactly the same tailor companies as they might have been 60, 70 years ago. And they have to work to make the trip. It doesn't happen organically. It takes a little bit of work and attention. Sorry, that's a very short question to our answer to a really big question.